Trump report on alleged election interference will remain confidential for the time being. The final report from a special grand jury looking into suspected election involvement by Donald Trump and his associates is being debated before a judge in Fulton County, Georgia. It is yet unknown if Trump or any of his associates will be prosecuted. What will be the final decision? Stay tuned to find out. Fulton County officials and attorneys for over a dozen media outlets spoke at the hearing on Tuesday in favor of the grand jury report's prompt release, calling it a subject of significant public concern that touches the core of the nation's democratic systems of government. Special grand juries differ from conventional grand juries under Georgia law because the panel might concentrate heavily on a particular inquiry for a longer time frame. A special grand jury may report its findings and make suggestions, but it cannot bring charges. Georgia judge has allegedly reported that a grand report of the jury on ex-President Donald Trump's struggles to overturn his election loss in 2020 will remain sealed for now. The report consists of 8-month findings about the criminal probe into the pressure campaign of Donald Trump to challenge his tapered defeat within the United States. 2 weeks ago, dissolved grand jury didn't exhibit prosecution powers. However, it's still recommended in favor of charges. In U.S. history, no ex-president has been charged. On Tuesday, after several hours into the court's arguments, Robert McBurney, Superior Court judge in Fulton County, stated that he wouldn't make any impetuous decisions and would take more time to imitate arguments from both sides. In contrast, Fani Willis, a district attorney in Fulton County, received the body's findings 2 weeks back. Further, the working prosecutor added on behalf of Fulton County that the district attorney's office considers that the report must be released only after the determination of the prosecutor whether to bring or not the charges within a case. Donald Wakeford, the prosecutor, added, "An opposition is not meant to march at the time end." However, Judge McBurney stated, he expects that any type of ruling on the report release would be pleaded. In January 2022, a grand jury based of 26 members was convened, Willis to investigate the attempts to reverse the vote loss, 11,779, of Mr. Trump towards President Joe Biden, along with efforts trying to send an alternative slate of presidential Republican elector from the state. He added further that among the potent crimes it seemed into were election fraud solicitation, racketeering, and the making of false statements against government officials. Another interesting thing is an addition of the infamous phone call between Brad Raffensperger, Secretary of Georgia State, and Donald Trump in January 2021, where Mr. Trump said that he wanted to find his 11,780 votes, the one more we have. According to him, the investigation is described as a severely political witch pursuit and characterized perfect repeatedly for the call. At a glance at the hearing on Tuesday, Mr. Trump blamed his Democratic opponents on the platform Truth Social regarding cheating to win concerning Mr. Raffensperger's call. He said many people, including both sides' lawyers, were perceptively on the line at that time. Moreover, he repeated the claims falsely about the stolen 2020 election. Lawyers in the court representing a U.S. media outlets consortium called for the report release, citing the unexpected interest of the public about happenings for this case. Thomas Clyde, attorney, a representative of media outlets, stated that a failure of document disclosure could shake the faith of the public inside the court system. He further added that regulations of people getting hurt is not enough towards report sealing. Thomas M. Clyde, an Atlanta lawyer for the media, said, "We feel the report should be given immediately and in its entirety." He said it's common for authorities in the court system to publicize information about an active case. The jury members themselves requested the publication. The public is interested in the things they have to say. Despite having the chance to argue for the grand jury report's secrecy, no counsel for people who were the subject of the inquiry or who could be referenced in it did so. The interesting news is that Mr. Trump's attorneys have confirmed non-participation in a Tuesday hearing. They said, "Up to date, we have never been through this process part." A dozen others' testimony was compelled by a grand jury, mostly high-ranking during investigation officials. However, they never found it significant to talk with the president. They also wrote to CBS News, the BBC partner in the U.S., an email statement. What's next? No immediate decision is made by the judge on releasing the Georgia grand jury report in the probe to Trump. It is found that no immediate decision has been made by Georgia judge on whether to release the grand jury's findings in a longer-term investigation into interference within the 2020 election. According to Senior Court Judge Robert McBurney on Tuesday, there will be no fast judgments due to the unique investigation's character. "This is not easy," McBurney remarked, explaining that he would need a little time to think it through and his order would give all parties a chance to comment before anything being made public. According to McBurney, nobody will wake up to find the report given by the court on the first-page headline. You are enjoying this video, right? You want to take advantage of other amazing videos, so you must hit the subscription button. It's that easy. Thanks for doing that. Let's move on. A new chapter is marked in this hearing within a sprawling inquiry of criminals which could present fresh legal peril for Donald Trump and his associates. The potential release of the report comes against other investigations' backdrop into efforts allegedly via Trump and his allies to disrupt the results of the 2020 election in Maine battleground states. The House committee investigated last month that on January 6, 2021, at the U.S. attack, a final report, based on 800 pages or more, had been issued, which cited proof from thousands and documents and interviews of about 1,000 witnesses or more. A committee conducted no criminal investigation. Therefore, its conclusions exhibit no bearing legally. It is argued that Trump, with the help of its allies, composed a strategy to stay in his office despite his loss in the election. Attorney General Merrick Garland issued summonses to officials of election in states involving Georgia, along with associates of Trump's campaign being part of the Justice Inquiry Department, inside the Trump and his allies' efforts commenced, conversing his defeat in 2020. Willis, in Fulton County, will decide either charge Trump criminally, along with his allies. However, her decision is likely to be influenced heavily and perhaps given the cover politically via the findings of residents, Atlanta area, selected randomly within May to aid on the distinctive grand jury. Additionally, an investigative body composed of 3 alternates and 23 jurors picked from the residents' pool from Atlanta and its related suburbs was provided full subpoena documents power and the capability of calling witnesses, and the identities of jurors were kept secret and never may be. Prominent Republican litany appeared from June to December before the committee consisting of the former mayor of New York, Rudy Giuliani, Brian Kemp, Georgia Gov, and Sen. Lindsay O. Graham, SC. In addition to several witnesses, such as the one not given previously the testimony publicly about their knowings for efforts of Trump for election overturned. A recording of a phone call Trump made to Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger in January 2021, in which he pleaded with him to find enough votes to overturn his loss in Georgia, was made public days after Willis, a long-standing Fulton State's attorney who was elected as district attorney in 2020, began her investigation into alleged election. It was one of the numerous calls that Trump and his aides placed to Georgian authorities, encouraging them to take action to overturn the outcome of the state's presidential election, which Trump defeated by more than 12,000 votes. In the 2 years that have passed, Willis has stated in the media and court documents that her office's inquiry has grown to include many additional lines of inquiry, such as erroneous allegations of election fraud produced to Georgia state legislators by Giuliani and other Trump affiliates, threats and harassment directed at Georgia election workers, and alleged attempts by unapproved individuals to hack voting records from electronic voting systems in Fulton County, Georgia. The selection of an alternative panel of Republican electors who gathered at the Georgia Capitol on December 2020 and issued certificates erroneously stating Trump had been elected in Georgia has been a major focus of Willis' investigation. Attorneys for the fake electors claimed in court documents that their clients were only working to protect Trump's rights in the face of a lawsuit attempting to nullify the Georgia results of the election, which the state already had validated. The bigger concerted plot behind those acts, involving the participation of Trump, the previous president's attorneys, key aides, and local and regional Republican strategists, has garnered the attention of state and federal investigators, including Willis. Additionally, they are looking at whether the false elector plot was designed to obstruct the transfer of authority during Congress's confirmation of the presidential voting results. In court documents, Willis stated that her probe focuses on multi-state, coordinated activities to affect the outcomes of the November 2020 elections in Georgia and abroad, having previously hinted that she may use Georgia's broad law on conspiracy to commit to indict the case, as she has in other elevated trials in Fulton County, including an ongoing lawsuit against the rapper Young Thug. She has stated in public that she is not only looking at potential infractions of state law, but also criminal conspiracy. The publication of a grand jury's conclusions in a probe into involvement in the 2020 election is still being considered by a court in Georgia. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. That will be all for today's video. Thanks for staying tuned. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you can always watch more amazing videos like this. See you in the next video.